Welcome back to Mindkind Podcasts. This is Dr. Jo North returning to our platform. Mindkind continues to be a reflective space for anyone who wants to stay sane in our demanding world. Our intention is to inspire, motivate and inform people of all ages interested in mental health and well-being. I'll be drawing on 35 years of practice as a psychotherapist, and we'll be looking at research and therapy along the way and talking with other experts in the field so we can draw on their skill. Nothing in this podcast is intended to cause you shock or surprise. If you think a subject is going to cause any triggering to any conditions that you have, please don't listen and just choose another podcast of interest. If you happen to be in a podcast and something in there triggers some kind of anxiety or stress for you, please switch off straight away and contact your mental health professional. If something affects the mind, we'll be talking about it. So let's get on with today's podcast. Hi everyone, Jo here again. So excited to be talking to you. What I'm really aware of this week is uncertainty and how that impacts on us. And in the UK at the moment, we've got a lot of political uncertainty and economic uncertainty. Now, I'm not going to go into the rights and wrongs of that because that will be a very, very long podcast. And I don't think it's okay for me to be getting in there with my political views. That's not what I'm here to do. What I am here to do is think about how we regulate ourselves with food and mindfully in our lives. And I'm just really mindful of how, listening to the political interactions and the comings and goings and toing and froings of Parliament has impacted on my mind. I think inevitably it does. We need to know there's stability in the political atmosphere, and we're just not getting it at the moment. So the first piece of learning I want to draw to our attention is the interplay between our nervous system and the regulation and management of that so that we feel good enough, and our eating behaviour. And I think you need to watch out for everything or anything that is going to unsettle your nervous system, and how, in fact, listening to the news can unsettle you, listening to information about war, it's all good that you are mindful and aware politically, but notice the impact that has on you. And what we need to be able to tell ourselves is, it's safe for me now, and this is not happening to me now. And kind of be grateful for that, whatever it is that's happening. But what's happening to us now is there's quite a lot of change and uncertainty in the political stratosphere. We can be unsettled on very, very simple levels. So last week, you will recall that I had a return to my Tibetan relaxation techniques, Kum Nye practice, which is the really simple and non-demanding, even less demanding than Tai Chi or yoga. I mean, a child can do this, so it's completely good for me. But I'm noticing already the noticeable impact on my nervous system, that I'm getting more distance between myself and my catastrophic thinking, which I have a tendency to do, that catastrophic thinking of everything's going to be ending in disaster. Absolutely everything. We all do that. It's a natural function of the mind to be aware of anything that could cause us danger and to be thoughtful about that, but not to let that overwork, and to certainly not let that run your life so that you're stressed. So last week also there was some 4-day-a-week research in the Times that confirmed that at the population level, working less helps us weigh less. Simple as. So there's a psychological safety in calming down and slowing down. But the psychological safety is a prerequisite for metabolic stability. You know that already. When you offer yourself some stability, when you slow your day down, when you say no to that extra work, or you organise that into something that's manageable, you are actually giving safety to your mind, to your body. And there's that safety for that metabolic stability. The body can't settle when the mind is in threat mode. It just simply can't. I seem to be proving that to myself time and again this week. And particularly, I was very taken with the Times research on the 4-day week. A study of a number of people showed that less working hours meant weighing less and less weight gain. So it gave me a validation of something that my own clinical research has been showing from the inside, and that is that time poverty is a root cause of disordered eating. Time poverty is not lifestyle inconvenience or even a mistake, but it's actually the root of disordered eating. So, obesity is not a failure of willpower, but is a predictable consequence of lives that have no space in them for the body to feel safe. Yeah. And if you just think for a minute about how many times in a day you become unsettled because there's too much going on. The raft framework that I developed, right amount, right food, right time, sits with time related eating and is essentially a structure that gives us an answer to this problem by giving people back the conditions of calm, of rhythm, and time that the nervous system requires so that they can make metabolic change and stability. So, when the mantra or the repeated words, if you like, is right amount, right food, right time, you simply keep finding the right time in which to eat your food, and you make sure that that includes downtime for the body and the mind. And that does need to be over 12 hours. If you can make it, but 12 hours is a brilliant starting point. Absolutely brilliant. 12 on, 12 off is absolutely super. Of course, with the proviso of not if you've got an illness or an eating condition or an eating disorder. So be very mindful of that. But generally, that really simple rhythm of 12 hours on, 12 hours off, making sure that you don't take any food in during that time is really, really good for us. You can't bully or rush your body into good health. You can only create the conditions in which the body mind trusts itself enough to change and rebalance. So take a minute in your day. In fact, take a minute right now. In fact, I'm going to time 1 minute. It's only a minute. Do it now. I'm going to be silent and I'm going to time it. And I'm going to let you feel that. What is it like to just stop? So put your hands in your lap, breathe out more than you breathe in, but don't get screwed up about that. Here we go. 1 minute. Nothing's happening for a minute now. Yeah, 1 minute. There's my gift to you this week. 1 moment of peace, 1 moment of sitting still, 1 moment of just letting your breath take you, and 1 moment of just being in this world. Can you feel that in your tummy? Can you feel that in your mind? And what that does to you? If any of this resonates and you'd like personal support, you can work with me one-to-one. See the coaching page on foodsane.co.uk website or contact me at joanna@foodsane.co.uk. Just write me an email. I look forward to talking to you. So, learning number 2 this week, I'm going to tell you all about my favourite mistake to make, which I keep revisiting, and I can assure you I'm not doing it on purpose. it is because I'm being a little bit asleep. And what I'm asleep to is probably what we're supposed to be asleep to, which is packaging. I get so sold on packaging, and I will buy things and I will go, oh, I bet that's great. And then I get it down me and realize that it's got something like a ridiculous amount of ultra processed food in it, or it's high glycemic index. So it's coming up again. And just to prove to you, we don't have to get it perfect. I do really well on time related eating. I wouldn't be telling you about it if I didn't. And my weight has remained stable now for 2 years, and I am feeling good and looking good. But I make mistakes, and the thing is to learn, isn't it? So here it was, this beautiful wooden box with focaccia flatbread in it. Posh box, posh price. So that made me think that's got to be okay. But I didn't notice it was extremely high on the glycemic index. And I had one piece of dried focaccia. It spiked my insulin sky high. Same result as last time I did that. My legs shook. I felt terrible. And it was just like, what is happening to me? My body said no to that, although my body could manage it very well. And if you do that, there's a few things to do. Number one is if you can take a little 10-minute walk up the road and get some fresh air. Number two is sip some water. And number three is sit quietly for a few moments. I mean, you're not actually going to die if your insulin spikes up like that. It's probably been doing that for years. Your body will manage it. But when you get used to great eating, you really, really feel it. So don't panic. A walk is brilliant for that. Sipping water is also good. So, another glycemic index lesson from the focaccia flatbread, which is a beautiful illustration of right amount, right food, right time as lived experience rather than just a theory. A very useful reminder that food can look very, very wholesome or sophisticated and appealing and still behave like refined sugar in the body. The fact of the matter is that that dried white focaccia posh flatbread did the same. I might as well have had, oh, I don't know, mega sugar. I might as well have had a packet of jelly babies. The crash that happens afterwards, the sleepiness, the flat mood the next day for me. And that was my body speaking clearly to me. It's just like, oh dear, that doesn't suit me well. So, that one's gone in, just like the Mars bar about 3 weeks ago. Do you remember that? Same thing. Anyway, it's great to share it with you. Fact is, I keep hearing it, and I just need to be reminded about every 4 weeks it would appear. I heard this and I reflected on another mental note that I'm not going to feel ashamed about this. I get it wrong. It's about what we're doing in our food environment right now. But it's a significant marker of progress that I'm able to register it and talk about it. I really want us to be careful of packaging. It is absolutely selling you the product. Duh. I mean, you all know that, don't you? Well, here's me. Still get sold on that. Love a pretty box. Oh, look at the label. And to all of those of you selling us packaging as food that's amazing for us that actually isn't, I hope you stop soon. And I hope you don't make lots of money soon, because soon you probably won't when the revolution comes. Anyway, just saying. So watch out for the packaging. Good learning. Headache, sleepy, very good learning. The third piece of learning for this week is on the issue of identity shift as an anchor for change. And on the 14th of May, if you're one of the people who's got access to my daily diary, and if you're on our Food Sane community at £10 a month, you totally will have. You can read it for yourselves. If not, we kind of put out a sort of couple of lines each week for you to read. But on the Food Sane community, I share my diary and 2 free chapters of the book, The Food Sane Training, and a tracker for your food and mood, which is very, very useful for people like me, where food can flip your mood in a matter of minutes. So it's all there for you, plus the community and the meeting that we have every month to talk together with questions. Now I'm answering a question every week for you. So send in your questions if you're in the community. So on the 14th of May, I described an identity shift away from, I am one of those fat people who always has to be on a diet, which I have been all my life from being quite a small child, to simply being someone whose body, like everyone else's, functions really well given the right conditions of time and rhythm. And it happened again. You'll have heard this before. Someone said, yes, well, you're nice and slim. And I just, again, it's just like, oh, who actually is that? Well, that actually is me, because I'm pretty slender these days. And, I don't go around sort of boasting about that, but every now and then somebody comments on it and I'm always surprised. But actually then I remember more quickly now. I'm one of those people who I just got my body to work in the right direction through time-related eating, and it's that simple. Flipped the metabolic switch. My body has plenty of time to burn fat. I never knew that before. And so I am now a time-related eater. And I'm expressing that more and more. I'm expressing that socially. So when I was out with people who really, really wanted me to eat and showed a sort of straight face and disgust at me because I didn't eat when it was all there. No, I didn't want it. Thanks. Thank you so much for sharing, but I don't want food I don't want. And I am that person now. I am a time-related eater and doing really well at it. So that's my identity. And of course, we know in terms of change and trying to make changes is that you're going to get so much power out of changing your identity rather than making a whole load of rules, that you're going to break. So to make a rule, I only eat at X amount of time each day. Well, don't get proud about that, because you will have to flex that time on occasions. With time-related eating, it's a flexible enough experience to be able to do that and still have a great space from food. So we don't want to get too rigid about what we're doing, but to identify as a time-related eater is going to give you real power, because it's a value and it goes inside and it sits inside, and it will really carry you through, and you really will start staring people in the face and saying, hey, no, thank you. I'm a time-related eater. And, I find it really interesting that the people who might push food at me are the people who might say, you're nice and slender and I've got a weight problem, bless. And then I have to obviously see if I can give them a little story or invite them onto the food sane community. So get that identity in place and you'll be doing a lot better. So we reframe our identity, and it's the heart of what we're doing at Food Sane. And it's really profound. Yeah, I'm a time-related eater. The problem was never me, and the problem is not you. It was the absence of the right conditions and the right information that your body needed. And so that's what we're doing now. So that was a just profound piece of learning, and very, very like a sort of clunk, the anchor dropped. I'm good, I'm safe. Unlike the lovely glycemic index learning, which was kind of, we got there in the end, didn't we? And then, of course, there was the lovely back to that self-regulation. You've got to sort your timing out. You've got to get your timing right. You don't need to diet. You need to get your time right in your life. You need to get it right for your children. You need to probably get it right in your family. You probably need to get it right exactly for you. So keep on doing that. Don't be afraid to be that person. Come and join us at the Food Sane community. Can't wait to see you there. Look out for me on TikTok, because I put out at least 4 posts a week about all of these different things, short and sharp and sweet and very poignant. So come and join us, and I can't wait to see you. And I can't wait to tell you all about next week, mistakes, success, the whole gambit. Take care. Bye from me. Thank you for listening. Check out the next episode on our platform. Don't forget, I'm a doctor of psychotherapy, not medicine or clinical psychology. My expertise lies in the field of applied psychology through psychotherapeutic models of practice. This podcast is not intended for diagnosis or treatment of any kind. If you are concerned about your mental health, do consult your doctor, who will guide you. If you are ever in a mental health crisis within the UK, dial 999. In all other parts of the world, check your mental health facilities or turn to someone who will support you.